Kyle Pitts inks a 3-year extension, $54 million. The man got paid. And this is definitely good news for Kyle Pitts owners, dynasty owners. This is great news for the Falcons fans. But is it a potential pathway and stepping stone for a Bijan Robinson extension? He's next up. London paid. Pitts paid. Now Bijan is next. But also, not only is Bijan next, but this also paves maybe a way for Pickens, who, like Kyle Pitts, tagged. Now Pickens is not tagged. Now Pitts is not tagged. Pitts now gets out of the tag, gets that $54 million contract, 3-year deal. And the deadline for coming to terms with the player that is on the tag is approaching. And so Pickens might be the next man up to get out, wiggle free from the said prison tag the players coined the franchise tag to be. And does Pickens end up getting his contract before that deadline? The Fantasy Football Show Breaking News Edition, Kyle Pitts Getting Paid Edition begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So Kyle Pitts getting paid the bag, getting a 3-year, $54 million deal. Pitts will not play on the $15 million franchise tag for tight ends, as he will be getting paid his $36 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons. The deal was made official here a few moments ago, and it does pave the way potentially to what would be next, a Bijan Robinson extension. Bijan Robinson fully expected to get paid this offseason. Kind of been waiting for Jahmyr Gibbs, Jahmyr Gibbs, both waiting on each other to try and set the market so that the one that signs second, the one that signs after the other, getting paid more, letting the baseline get set, and then having the other leapfrog slightly, although they will be paid very similar and paid very handsomely. But might we say that the Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs contracts might not look the way we thought they would look, just because these are two players that, we feel should be making $40+ million per year. But the market, for some reason, and the running backs are folding to it, seems to be in the 20 to 25 ballpark for annual amounts for running backs like Bijan and Gibbs, which is it's highway robbery, to be honest with you. So I think I think we could talk briefly about Kyle Pitts. We could talk about what this does for Bijan and what it means if Bijan gets an extension, what it means if Gibbs gets an extension, because people will be then talking about their long-term value very different because people are fickle. They're in the news. Okay, Bijan's getting paid. I'm going to now value him higher. You can't really value him higher in a draft per se because he's going 1 or 2 overall. Gibbs, who we predicted to be the number 1 overall player walking into January, February, and there was a little bit of a pushback on that. It's JSN, it's this and that, and now Gibbs is pretty much the consensus 1 overall. Bijan 2, he still is hard to trade for, no doubt. Hard to draft. You have to have that top 2 pick. But once his extension is handed out, the fickle Freddies out there, it's weird how people gravitate toward the long-term deal and what it means to them in terms of volume. But Bijan should get his soon. Pickens is the other one that we're sitting here, and the deadline for the tag is July 15. Got it on my board over on the side. So July 15, Pickens, who is currently playing on the tag now, signed the tag. Not holding out on the tag, by the way. Why would he? We knew he wouldn't. We knew he'd try and, shot across the bow. Let the team know he's upset. Let the Cowboys know he's upset. Jerry, that he's upset. His agent advised him to miss OTAs, but he's not missing any sort of mandatory camp or any mandatory practices or mandatory anything because Pickens doesn't want to lose the money that he's barely getting paid in his eyes. So he's definitely not holding out. Not to mention he said it with his own words that his agent told him to miss OTAs, but he's going to be there. Obviously, it's mandatory, and he's there to win a championship. He's not there to worry about anything else but winning. And that's the attitude George Pickens wants in order to get that extension early. July 15, we will know if George Pickens, like Kyle Pitts, instead of playing on the tag like many expected, Kyle Pitts to maybe play on the tag, maybe not. We knew that this deal, they were trying to work it out. Jerry forced Pickens to sign the franchise tag because of his control freak nature, saying basically, we can maybe do this deal, and then when Pickens didn't like Jerry's offer, Jerry said, sign the tag or else. I'm done negotiating with you. No longer am I negotiating with you. I kind of tend to disagree that that's the way this thing is probably going to go. I think just like Kyle Pitts, there's a certain number that the team wants. Just like Kyle Pitts, the franchise tag was a real possibility for the Falcons to let Pitts play on the tag, although they'd have to tag him again the next year in order to hold him, which is a dangerous proposition to do. And the price goes up when you double tag somebody back to back. It's not a crazy amount, but it's enough that maybe sends people in a different direction. That's kind of the design, make it a little tougher to tag players multiple times in a row. But Kyle Pitts could have very well been tagged based on how he played. But the Falcons didn't want to go in that direction because, $36 million fully guaranteed at the end of the day, huge number for laymen's like us, but that is not a crazy number for this organization. Bringing back one of the best tight end prospects to ever play that had finally a season that mirrored what we expected coming out of his rookie year. Big gap in between of him playing at the level that we've expected, but Kyle Pitts has been delivering upon the hopes and dreams of every Kyle Pitts owner from last season until this point. So I think it's very, very fitting that he gets paid $36 million guaranteed given the market value. Now, Pickens deserves every penny of what he's probably commanding, $90 to $100 million guaranteed. Might it be sub 100? Maybe. And might Pickens accept a $90 million guaranteed deal? I think he probably would. Because at this point, Pickens is walking in scared to get injured, but not so scared. He's willing to let it all ride and bank on himself like he did last year and like he delivered upon last year. So Pickens delivers upon said challenge again in 2026. Guess what? Pickens is going to get paid absolute bank. Pickens, if he does make it through 2026 unscathed, plays like a top 5 to 7 wide receiver. Let's call it even top 5 to 8. He gets paid way more than he did if he just got paid now on a 4-year deal. So if Pickens signs a 4-year deal now, $90 million guaranteed, $92 million guaranteed, whatever the number ends up being. Then Pickens, doesn't get that near $20 million now, the $19 million on the tag, and an additional $100 million guaranteed by signing a fresh contract next offseason. Pickens could get $120 million guaranteed if he banks on himself and makes it out of this 2026 season, signs a brand new deal on top of his $19 million franchise tag paid money that he gets. This might be a $120 million decision versus a $90 million decision. To play out 1 year, he could profit $30 additional million by pushing his contract extension into 2026. But at the same time, he also gives himself some leverage to go get that exact deal elsewhere if the Cowboys don't want to double tag him because the price goes up. And Jerry clearly is worried about what he's spending on Pickens, so maybe he would let Pickens walk, which wouldn't be smart, right? To lose Pickens, especially if he played like a top 5 to 8 wide receiver. Could they tag him, trade him, he signs somewhere else? Sure, that's possible. So a lot to go on with Pickens. My prediction is that Pickens, like Kyle Pitts, on the tag now, looks bad, looks bleak, right? Not going to get a long-term deal. Why wouldn't the Falcons sign Kyle Pitts to a long-term deal? We knew that they were going to do it if they could manipulate the numbers. We knew they got to sign Bijan. That's priority 1, even though it's being signed after the Kyle Pitts move. It kind of lets them know what they're working with money-wise. Kind of a smart decision in a way, too, because you're going to go to Bijan and say, hey, this is our books, right? These are our books right here. We can't afford anymore. Oh, well, you can restructure that. Even if we restructured that, this is what we have. So you might want to take it, and it might kind of put parameters around Bijan's asking price, which I'm sure they want $30+ million guaranteed. And I'm sure Bijan wants $30+ million guaranteed. I'm sure the team wants to pay him under 25. So they've probably been pretty far apart all offseason. But I think Bijan's camp and everybody are going to come down to about a $25 million number per season, per se. And honestly, you know, we'll see what kind of guaranteed money Bijan gets, but he deserves the world. I mean, he deserves to get paid as high as any receiver, to be honest. I'm not saying that the receivers and all these players deserve $100+ million per year. I'm not saying that Brandon Ayuk deserved his $30 million per year. No one thinks that. But I do believe whatever these receivers are getting, Bijan and Gibbs should also be getting. It is what it is. And Pickens, you know, deserves to be paid like a top 7 to 8 wide receiver minimum. We'll see if that happens. Phone lines are open. Dial in, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in, dial in, dial in. Don't forget, we did this video last night on the Dynasty channel, so go check it out. Can't wait to get cooking on this offseason, man. We're inching closer and closer to July 4th. 4th of July is kind of when the switch gets flipped on the 5th of July. People come back from that vacation, and they're just ready for football. And all the dates and the NFL dates start lining up right around then, too. So it just feels like a real push-off point for the off-season content to go into the final phase and then into the preseason and into week 1. Can't wait. So excited. Graveyard shows are going to be crazy this off-season. Can't wait for the Graveyard show. You'll be able to tell a distinct difference between those shows. We have the 8 p.m. show. We'll have the Graveyard show. We'll have breaking news shows, whatever, big news breaks. So just per usual, appreciate every single one of you in the building. Hammer over in the Rumble chat. We've got, it looks like YouTube probably didn't send out a lot of notifications because we had just gone live earlier on the Sorsby thing. Sorsby, for those that don't know, he's unable to play in 2026 in the NFL, which is wild. But the NFL is the NFL, and they want to handcuff this kid and put him in a box and, you know, make him suffer for something, granted, that was not good. Okay, but him betting on college football, especially his team, is bad. But not betting on himself, he wasn't even playing. Not saying that's good, but does that deserve him to be kind of put in a position where he misses his entire 2026 opportunity to play and get drafted by a team in the supplemental draft? No, I don't think it's right. But the NFL does what it wants. Heavy hand 1 minute, non-heavy hand the other. That's neither here nor there. Just letting you know, we did that show earlier. This live stream is about Pitts, Bijan, Gibbs, you know, contract extensions for the RBs off the back of Kyle Pitts. So look for that soon. And then also this Georgie Boy Pickens extension, hopefully off the back of the franchise tag signing, just like Kyle Pitts signed his tag, waited in good faith. He signed it in good faith, right? I'm a team player. I want to be here no matter what. Let me sign my tag. However, we have until July 15th to get an extension worked out before I get locked into the tag of $15 million for tight ends. Pickens, same thing. July 15th gets locked in unless they work out an extension between now and July 15th, which I do think they will. I do think that they will.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I'll answer a few phone calls, any super chats that come in will be answered in order in which they're received. Let me hear what your thoughts are on these three bad boys right here, and anything else you may want to bring up on this channel so we can cook up something. Appreciate everybody. I don't know where Landman is. I don't know where the usual suspects are. I know we don't do as many day streams. It's 2 o'clock right now, my time, which is 5 p.m. Eastern, I believe. We'll be back at 5 p.m. my time, 8 p.m. Eastern for the 8 p.m. show. But I thought I'd answer as many questions and phone calls as I can. Let me go through some of these chats. Last night's Graveyard show was good. Don't worry, it's going to get even better and better and better. We're going to have the Not that we don't already, but we're going to have the best graveyard vibe. And first of all, no one else does graveyard shows, but we do. People will copy us. But we built this, Smitty, on graveyard shows, as the song goes. We built this, as Denny would sing it. We built this, Smitty. And Denny, if you're out there, I need you to call in and serenade this so we can get it on a recording. We built this, Smitty, on graveyard shows. We need Denny to come in with his bravado and drop that number. But the graveyard shows, I promise you, the vibe is going to be different than you expect. It's going to be better than ever. Graveyard shows on the channel. We already have them, but the graveyard shows will get better and better, and they're going to be fantastically fun. This is going to be the best midnight fantasy football content you're going to find. It already is. It already was. It already has been. But it's going to be about 5 times more entertaining this offseason and in season. Mainly in season. It's going to be more entertaining from August 1 through, January that you've ever seen. Let's see here. Underdog price going up. Kyle Pitts, definitely. I mean, we've been stealing Kyle Pitts away over and over and over. And that's the other negative thing is like people are fickle. Like I said, Bijan's not, he's going 2 overall, so draft-wise, nothing can really change. But in a trade, you can't get Bijan cheaply. But once people are talking about his extension, once people are talking about Gibbs' extension, there's just more content created about the player. You're going to see more, read more. ESPN will do more. They'll be in the news a little bit more. And it's just going to remind people to talk good about him. And then you're just going to hear, you're going to have people hearing such good stuff about these players. And they're just going to end up valuing them more and more and more and more. And it's going to make getting Bijan or Gibbs, which is already a tough task, a tall order. In a trade, it's going to make it even harder. So Kyle Pitts, people are fickle. Nothing's changed with Kyle Pitts. But people are going to be like, oh, Kyle Pitts, he signed his extension. By the way, I like him a lot this year. And then that's going to build, and it mounts. And before you know it, the value climbs. It's the way the fickle Freddies operate in fantasy football. You're live. Who is this? 210. You're live on the show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
From San Antonio. My name is David.
David, what can I do for you?
Hey, somebody had sent me a trade on a U-Haul, Yahoo.
U-Haul. Sent you a trade on it. Someone's saying you a trade on a U-Haul. What in the hell?
Yeah.
Okay. What came over on that U-Haul truck, my guy?
Yeah, they would have sent me McCaffrey and Metcalf and Pittman for my James Cook and
it was. I'm sorry. Say the trade again.
They're trying to send me McCaffrey.
Okay.
And Pittman.
Okay.
And Metcalf.
DK. Okay.
For James Cook and the receiver from the Bears, the one from last year, the rookie from last year.
Burden,
I guess. Yeah.
You don't even know. Yeah, you gotta know Burden, bro. All right. This is a redraft.
Yeah, it's a redraft.
So you're not dynasty, no keeper, nothing. Are you sure?
Yeah, it's nothing like that.
Okay. I think you can make arguments either way, bro. It just depends on how you feel about CMC. I personally think Cook is just safer. I think CMC, even if he stays healthy, will be, I don't want to say hard pressed to get into Cook's scoring range, but he's also declined on the ground, bro. His metrics were awful. He just got so much volume. Now you could say that you think CMC is going to continue to get the volume, and then but at the end of the day, Cook probably is a tad bit safer in redraft, even though CMC might have more upside. Like CMC could be the number 1 overall player, sure. If you cuff it, you're a lot safer. But I'd probably rather have Cook and Burden. I think Burden's better than DK, although I love DK's value. But I think Burden's got better trade value anyway. So you could just take Burden and flip him into something else. Or you could take this combo and flip it into maybe get I don't know if you could get a Gibbs. You could try. Could you get a Gentian something? Maybe. I think this package is easier to trade than this package right here. I think what he sent you over on the U-Haul was some potentially damaged goods. And I don't know that I would be taking the CMC side, but it's pretty close. Chat, vote in the chat on that one. Look, you're going to either believe in CMC for one more year or you're not. And there's nothing wrong with either side because there's an argument to be made. There's an argument to be made that they're just going to keep throwing to Christian McCaffrey, that he's going to visit the Germany doctor twice in the offseason versus just once. And there's a chance he delivers. There's a chance. But I would say this. I would say with the presence of Evans, they might not throw as much to Christian McCaffrey or even need to. With his declining rushing stats, I don't think he's going to revert back there and save you if that happens. And Shanahan has never, ever said he's going to dial back Christian McCaffrey. In fact, he said the opposite. The Jordan Mason year, when McCaffrey injured his PCL at the end of the year after coming back and Mason had already tore it up, and then they put Mason on the bench, a reporter asked, why in the hell didn't you just play Mason more and save McCaffrey? And Shanahan said, we're a one running back team. We always will be. That's our system. Our system does not revolve around rotating running backs in and out. And so the fact that, Shanahan for the first time this offseason said he's going to rotate his running backs, he's going to save McCaffrey, you have a lot of red flags for McCaffrey not being able to deliver upon James Cook value. You could also say James Cook might step back because of DJ Moore, or his 2 years of touchdown glory might revert back to the 2 years prior where he didn't get touchdowns. You could argue this thing 100,000 different ways. I take Cook and Burden, but I do try and flip it for a safer combo or safer one running back that was safer than McCaffrey. So do the trade.
Yeah,
or don't
yeah,
do.
He sent me another trade too.
All right, what's that?
He wanted the same players. He wanted wait. He wanted
Cook and Burden.
No, wait. He wanted Love, the rookie Love.
Do you first of all, do you have CMC or are you getting CMC in the trade?
No, I'm gonna get CMC.
Okay,
if I make
yeah, don't do that trade. Okay, what's the other trade offer he's offering you?
He's offering me he wants my Love from Arizona and Tuden and Burden for McCaffrey and Metcalf and Pittman, I guess.
I bet he does. No, thank you. No, stand down, bro. He's trying to get rid of CMC for a reason. You got Love and Cook. You've got Burden. You've got Tootin. Your team's fantastic. Who's your other receiver outside of Burden?
My receiver. I'll tell you my starters. My starters are Lamar Jackson, St. Brown, Cortland Sutton, and James Cook, Jeremiah Love, Jake Ferguson, and Bucky Irvin. And then I got
Tootin. You got Tootin too.
Yeah, I got Tootin too. And then I got Burden. I got Rashad.
Yeah, you're going about this. You're going about this the wrong way, bro. You got a surplus at RB. Can you start all 4 RBs or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I don't know why you're going in the direction you're going. Trade Burden and Bucky or Burden and Cook for one monster running back, or just stand down. Or trade Bucky for a wide receiver if you needed another wide receiver. So you have St. Brown, Burden, and Sutton. I don't mind Sutton as your third receiver, but I also don't love it. So you could go that route. But yeah, he's trying to give you, bro, you got to go after. Don't go getting 2 players. Go get 1 player. Do a 2-for-1 or do nothing. Just shut the door on this guy. Say, stop offering me, Christian McCaffrey. Stop trying to upgrade McCaffrey. Bro, McCaffrey's an upgrade. What are you talking about? Then tell him, okay, then keep him. If he's such an upgrade, then keep him. Stop trying to offer me 2 players for my 2 players and try and get the best of both of the side of the trade. Your team looks great, bro. What you could do if you wanted is trade James Cook and go after the top dog wide receivers like JJ or higher and then throw Tootin and Bucky and Love into your running back 3-man rotation, and then you have St. Brown, Burden, and JJ. Or if it's not JJ, try and get JSN. JSN's a real good value. Try and trade Cook for JSN. That's what I would do.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
I also got Gainwell, and I got
Who?
Littman too. Gainwell.
Oh, Gainwell. Yeah, keep Gainwell and Bucky together. If you trade them, you
And
can
I
trade them together as a package. Do not cut Gainwell. Do not trade one. Don't split them up. Bro, your team with Love, Tootin, and Bucky, you can afford to turn Cook into a JSN. And if you got to give up like an additional piece somewhere that you got on the side, throw it in, okay? All right, got to go, bro.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, throw a lemon in. Who cares? Yeah, but this guy's trying to take your team and give you more of what you don't need. And just because he's making offers, you could tell, no offense to that guy, but he sounds like the kind of guy, it's like you make him offers, he's just real intrigued. He's like, you're sitting there, you're like, hey, the water cooler. Hey, Steve, come over here. I got an offer for you. You do? You don't say. Yeah, I know you don't need running backs. That's okay. What's your offer? Like, Steve, you're literally willing, or what was his name? Marco, Steve, I forget what it was. You're really literally willing to trade anything. Like, you got to make sure you're doing a trade that makes sense for your team. You have the surplus in running backs. You don't need to go get a running back and receiver for your running back and receiver. That helps you zero. And Christian McCaffrey's riskier than James Cook. Even though the ADP's there. And the ADP, I know the ADP's there when you're drafting, but it's not there when you're trading, which says something about being overvalued on draft day. Appreciate everybody being in the building. One more phone call, then we're out of here.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Pitts is not worth it. Why? Hate the Falcons? Is that where that's coming from? I mean, you can see that from a mile away. Pitts isn't worth it. Pitts isn't worth it. He's garbage. Why is that, 84? Do tell. We're all ears as to why this man that had a monster season is not worth extending. The guy that had one of the best rookie tight end seasons ever has just been waiting and clamoring for targets and the right usage, finally gets it. And now he gets handed Tommy Reese, who took Fannin into top 5 territory last year. So do share what's wrong with Kyle Pitts and why he's not worth it. I'd love to hear. Would love to hear it. Timothy says, Smitty, you are the man, took your advice, gave up Rice for BTJ and a first rounder. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind. I don't mind either side, to be honest. I love Rice a ton, but take that first rounder now and turn it into something even better. You don't have to trade BTJ, but you trade that one with your running back, upgrade your running back. That one with your quarterback, upgrade your quarterback. That one with another wide receiver on your team, upgrade that wide receiver into JSN. Use the first round pick, unless you think it'll be the 1 or 2. I'd probably hold it then, but I definitely look to flip it because that's the kind of trader I am. Trader in terms of like draft pick trader. All right, guys, appreciate you all. If no one else has a phone call, dial in on the way out the door, and I'll throw you on and come back on screen if you've got something. But I'll hit the exit right now. Pickens to the moon, maybe, hopefully Pickens is next. First of all, we need Bijan to be next. Oh, real quickly, we got Michael from San Diego calling before I hit the outros. Michael, you're live. What can I do for you? What do you hear? What do you say?
Yeah, man, what's going on, Smitty? Real quick, since we're on the Falcons topic, I don't know if you touched it because I got in a little bit late, but do you think Bijan's getting paid before the season starts? And if so, I think it's an interesting topic. Do we like him in Atlanta long term? Like, I know it's not a
we talked about it. That's why we got him on screen here.
Okay.
And that's why in the graphic it says Bijan ? Next. But yeah, I think Mike, I think that he does. I think that they'd be crazy not to. His value is only going to go up. And Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan are just waiting for the other one to sign first, and the teams are not wanting to overpay. I think that they had an expectation of 30 plus million. The team has an expectation of like 21, 22 million, and they've been very, very far apart. I think Bijan and Gibbs are probably coming to the conclusion off the Achane situation that we're probably getting $24, $25 million if we're lucky. And that's just the stupid nature of the running back contract situation in the NFL. It's really, really dumb. Bijan deserves to get paid what all the top wide receivers get paid. Gibbs deserves to get paid what all the top wide receivers get paid. It's ridiculous. Do we want him long-term in Atlanta? I mean, he's been pretty good there. So where else would you want him to go? And there's really no other option at this point. They're not getting rid of him.
No other option.
Yeah,
you're right. It's just more if I look at when I compare him and Gibbs' situation is just locked in long term. You know, he's going to be situated, and I feel like the Falcons are still trying to figure out QB.
They are, but
we like Penix, but the coaching situation is kind of spotty. You wonder what his upside would be if he had a more consistent situation.
I think that can change too in the snap of a finger. Maybe Mike McDaniel's who knows? I don't think Stefanski will be gone in 1 year. We've seen it happen before, though. So it's not like out of the realm of possibility. But, we could also see Tommy Reese get elevated or something within 2 years or something. I think Stefanski's not good. The only problem about Stefanski is if Tommy Reese succeeds, Stefanski will succeed with him. And he'll ride Tommy Reese's coattails into an extension.
Yeah, and then what
like
Tommy
Sirianni,
head coaching job elsewhere, And then,
but hey, if Tommy Reese is that good, and let's say he doesn't get a head coaching job, and he very well could, though, off of the back of one good year. That's the way the NFL is now. It's really, really the downside. There is a risk factor of Tommy Reese leaving and Stefanski going, okay, I'm going to call plays again in 2027. So you bring up a good point. And that's why I have Gibbs higher. I mean, Gibbs is my number one. Gibbs, I haven't wavered all offseason. The whole world's wavered around what we've said. We've said Gibbs is the one. Remember the guy that call in and argue? JSN, I'm going to do you a favor, Smitty. There's some guys on Sirius XM that are saying JSN's the one. I just wanted to call in and tell you that and give you a little heads up and help you. Like, so you know to change your behaviors because other people we're like, bro, it's Gibbs. You follow us. You get us coffee. The guys on Sirius get us coffee. Everyone else gets us coffee. We don't get you coffee. And what has happened? The entire industry's drafting Gibbs 1.1 now. Everybody's drafting Gibbs 1.1. That doesn't change. Bijan's in a much shakier situation. But the question's kind of irrelevant in terms of do we want him there? It doesn't matter. The only thing you can ask is the question you asked is, does he ever move ahead of Gibbs in the next 1, 2, 3 years? Probably not. Could wide receivers move ahead of Bijan like JSN or Jamar Chase like next year and the year after so Bijan goes down to 4 or 5? It's certainly possible. Like if Tommy Reese succeeds, gets a head coaching job, and then Stefanski gets jealous because Tommy Reese, is the superstar, and he does what Campbell did. You remember this exact jealousy pathway that happened to Detroit. Ben Johnson left, got his own thing. Dan Campbell ended up taking over play calling midway or a little past midway through the season, and it was a disaster. There was some good and bad, but for the most part, disaster. Stefanski's already play called and had his play calling duties taken away twice. Twice has Stefanski had his play calling duties ripped from his grasp. One of which was last year, right before he decided to get hired as a head coach by Atlanta. And Atlanta is just stupidity. So, part of me does worry that there's, a bunch of stupidity at the top level, of what the decisions being made here, Matt Ryan. What in the hell are we talking about? Why are we hiring Stefanski? One of the stupidest moves you could make. The only thing dumber is hiring Matt Nagy as your offensive coordinator over in New York and hiring Nathaniel Hackett over in Arizona to help kind of potentially put himself in the way at least, even though he's not calling plays, thank God. But probably one of the dumber moves of the offseason is Stefanski as a head coach. Guy's an imbecile. Guy's so bad, he had his play calling duties ripped from him twice in Cleveland alone. And he's so bad at play calling that he has to bring Tommy Reese over. It's just moronic. So, yes, I'm not excited about it like I am with Gibbs, but I also know this, though. The solace I have, bro, is Christian McCaffrey played in trash in Carolina. Played with trash, played in trash, played around trash. Didn't matter. Bijan is probably going to be fine. But Gibbs is the one. That's all I can say for now. Not worried this year. Let's take it year by year. In Dynasty, I'm not getting rid of Gibbs or Bijan for any, preemptive what if Tommy Reese leaves fear. I'm not. Anything else?
No, I agree with that. No, I agree with that, man. Yeah, it's just situation based. I think Bijan's a better back, but they're close enough, and the situation gap is too big. So I agree with you there.
Yeah,
but I'm
situation's
hoping
king.
that his career trajectory is sort of like CMC's, where in a few years, if the Falcons don't do anything significant, they move off of him and he gets a chance to go crush elsewhere.
They could. It's very, very, very possible. 2-3 years is a long time, and teams do that when they can't win with a player. They have to say it themselves, like, we aren't winning and we're not really ready yet, so let's trade Bijan while we can get something to build for when we're ready to win. It doesn't seem like it makes sense now, but those trades end up, developing. Just like Joe Burrow. Like, if Joe Burrow and the Bengals fail hardcore this year, like hardcore, like they look awful, everything's trash, they will have to say to themselves, I don't think it'll happen. I think even if they make the playoffs and lose in round 1, they're still on a course to keep Joe Burrow because they've done everything that Joe Burrow's asked. They just got to bring it all together. There's a lot of talent there. But let's say the Bengals didn't. They crashed and burned, and it was an awful season. Joe Burrow's getting hit left and right, and this team is just not doing it. The Bengals will say to themselves, we haven't won. And it doesn't feel like we're knocking on the door necessarily. How can we rebuild and do something new? And prepare for 3 years from now to be there. Because maybe 3 years from now, we won't still be there. So we got to get the value while we can, max value. It's like trading your car in at the right time to get max value. You go another 20,000 miles and you hit that 100K mark, boom, you hit another milestone that sends the value down. So it's like Burrow. They're like, we got this value here. If he gets hurt again and we get him hurt, then we can't trade him for anything. So yeah, it's hard to say. At the end of the day, Bijan is the number 2 overall player in Dynasty Fantasy Football. That doesn't look like it's going to change anytime really soon. If Tommy Reese, a big if, leaves, Stefanski, big if, stays, and Stefanski, like Tommy Reese does great, leaves, then everyone thinks Stefanski's a good coach. Like everyone thinks McDonald is probably a little better than he is. I'm not saying McDonald's not a good coach. I'm just saying Kubiak left. I'm not saying that Campbell's not a good coach, but then Ben Johnson, who did it, left. So Stefanski might be looked at like, oh, he's a pretty good coach because they do well with Tommy Reese. Maybe they do badly with Tommy Reese. I don't want that, knock on wood. Bijan still eats, but eats less efficiently, but eats. And then they fire both of them, and then they're in a better position. I don't know. We'll have to see. There's so many different ways it could go. All I know is that CMC cooked at a bad spot. Bijan will probably cook in a bad spot. So either way, it doesn't really matter. But I do think there's a world where Chase and JSN and a player or two could make Bijan 3 or 4 next year if the season doesn't go as planned. Or if the season goes as planned and Stefanski's there and Tommy Reese leaves, I don't think the fantasy football industry will react appropriately. I think they'll be like, that's fine. Everything's still good. Stefanski's going to be fine. Look how good he did as a head coach. And we're like, he didn't really do good. It was Tommy Reese. So who knows, bro? All right. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Yep. I'll be on tonight. I'll see you.
All right, later. All right. So for now, there's no knock on Bijan. That was not a negative Bijan take by me. It's just it's a reality check that situation is king. Gibbs not only has the talent, but he has the situation. Bijan has the talent, obviously, and he currently has probably the situation now. Problem is the situation is Tommy Reese, offensive coordinator, not locked in. The NFL needs to maybe do something about the contracts of offensive coordinators. You shouldn't be able to leave after one season. Mike McDaniel, one and done. The Chargers hired the wrong guy. The Chargers should have hired Mike McDaniel as their head coach. You don't think I'm telling the truth? Then come back in one calendar year. The Falcons shouldn't have hired Stefanski. They should have hired Tommy Rees as their head coach. Ben Johnson should have been held as the head coach. They should have fired Dan Campbell. Even though Dan Campbell was doing well right then, the move to make was the tough decision of who's actually the one that did this. People don't want to admit this stuff. I will. We'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
Pickens. Pickens. Deck attack. Deck attack. Deck attack. Deck attack.
Quadruple J and Consultants.
Did you make a mess on the field? Don't fret. Call the cleanup crew. Call Quadruple J and Consultants.
Locations on Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter.
In a jam, call HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and Jupiter.
See you all at 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, BJ Cool, I don't know where you were at, pal. Still waiting for your message. Making sure you saw that I saw that you saw that I saw your $20 super chat. Appreciate you. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Almost every single Monday through Friday. Live almost whenever big news breaks. Just like this show. Just popped up. We've already done 2 breaking news shows today. See you all at midnight Eastern. I'm sorry, not midnight. See you all at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then see you at midnight Eastern. And I'm also live again whenever big news breaks. See you soon. Dose. Stay loose. Stay liquid.